Welcome to After the Last Dog. I am Dara Forleo, and today we are talking about the business side of grooming and pet care after the appointments are done. So, there is a difference between being busy and actually getting something done or handled, right? There are things in a business that just sit forever and ever and ever, and we just let them sit there and stew, and everybody knows about them. They have been mentioned. We've probably been discussing them a little bit more in depth, but nobody has really made any decisions about it, right? Nobody has been made or assigned to take the next step. There is simply just no point where anyone can say, yep, that's done. And then the week continues to fill up and the same things are still sitting there week after week, day after day, right? This is usually where questions come from, like, what am I missing? You already know it's there. What is missing is the part where it becomes an actual decision instead of something that we keep meaning to go back to. This is really what I want to talk about today, right? A lot of things get called handled when they really have only been spoken about. Someone says, hey, we need more training. You can explain it, right? You can say it over and over again. They nod, they understand, and yep, okay, all of a sudden we move on, right? But is that the real question? Is that really what we're talking about? Can that person now do the work they need to do the way it needs to be done without someone watching over them, without someone correcting or finishing it for them? This is the part that gets skipped. The conversations are still feeling like progress because the time was spent on it, right? You're still doing it. You're still teaching. You're still showing. But the work is still not finished until the results change. Does that make sense? The same thing happens with decisions that get made inside the salon. You can agree that something needs to change, but still keep operating in the old way because nobody's really decided what makes that change happen and when that change is going to take place. Is that going to happen on the next appointment? The next shift, the next client conversation? When's it going to happen? That is where it stalls. The stall happens when we are spending time talking about it instead of deciding what will be different after this immediate conversation is over. That is the difference between being busy with a problem and actually solving it. The hard part is that nobody has a perfect day where they get to be the groomer, and I'm talking business owners here, right? The groomer from 9 to 12, the owner from 1 to 2, and the person who's thinking ahead for the business from 3 to 4 o'clock. That is not salon life reality, and we all know that. You are probably still grooming and working in your business as a groomer, and that's fantastic. And you might be grooming a dog and answering a question at the front desk at the exact same time. You could be even checking a text message while you're grooming and trying to decide whether you need to change something on the schedule, all within that first short little bit of time that you have the dog in the tub. So this is not about trying to separate these different unique roles that we wear, the 3 different hats that we are going to be wearing in our day-to-day. It's about knowing which role needs to make the decision before you automatically respond. It's kind of what we've been talking about the last few weeks, right? In the groomer, when you are in the groomer role, right, you handle what is happening right in front of you right now in real time. When you have that owner role, that is, you are making decisions about what needs to change because something keeps happening over and over and over again. The future hat wearing role asks, whether you want this to still be part of your normal life as a business owner in the next 6 months. And all of these hats are being worn throughout the exact same day. Every single day you're wearing all of them. And this comes about when a team member asks you, again, the same question. They are still coming for you for an answer in the moment. But before you move on, make a note about this. This needs a decision. Put that in your head and say, if it is coming back to you over and over and over again, you need to have a better, clear system for that. If a client asks for an exception, you may decide what to do for that client yourself. But later on, if somebody else is asked that same question, they may not be able to answer that question. And now you're giving a perspective to somebody who might not have that same answer right in front of them. If a dog is taking longer than scheduled, you still have to finish the dog. Somebody has to finish. But after the appointment, are you going to look at the timing and see, was the timing off? Was it the price? Service description, what happened here, the booking, was there a change, was there a problem? So having an understanding of these decisions that need to be made, right? That is where we're switching our hats. That's where we are switching from groomer to owner to the future. What do we want this to look like in 6 months from now? You do not have to stop the day to become an owner. Right? You don't have to stop to switch your hat. You just have to stop treating every repeating issue like it is a one-time interruption, because that's what it's become, and it's become routine and normal. Being busy does not remove the need to make decisions. It usually makes those decisions a lot more important. The problem is when you use being busy as a reason that you can't deal with them. Oh, wait, what did I just say? The problem is when you use being busy as a reason for you not dealing with something, even though you know it'll be back tomorrow and the next day and the next day. That is where I'm busy becomes procrastinating on purpose. And maybe it's because you are to avoid that work, and that's okay. But at some point, you can't avoid it anymore. You are doing the work that is easier, and it's just easier to stay and to do that than to deal with something much harder to deal with. Grooming the next dog is going to be easier than looking at a price that needs to be changed. Answering the question again may be easier right now than deciding that the team needs to follow a better system and be able to answer those questions themselves. And how about fixing the mistake may just be easier than dealing with it and wondering why it keeps happening over and over and over again. This is so normal, because it's also where salon owners are stuck. And I have been there. It is so easy to get stuck. And that switch of those roles does not have to be over dramatic. It doesn't have to be right away, but it needs to be something that you consider and think about. It can be as simple as saying, I have to deal with this today, but I also need to make this a priority decision that needs to be taken care of this week. Does not maybe need to be handled right away, but it does have to be decided and made that decision for the week, okay? This is how you start moving between the roles without pretending you have extra hours in the day. Because we all have the same number of hours in a day. Every single one of us has 24 hours in a day. It is what we do with those 24 hours, right? Because you have 8 hours of work. I mean, is that a reality? 8 hours to sleep, 8 hours of work, 8 hours for ourselves. It's not really the reality of the day. And we all know that, even though we all have the exact same amount of time every single day. It's how we prioritize our time. Okay, no more. When you are grooming, you make decisions to get the dog done properly. And that is the job in front of you right away. When you look at the business, you have to make different decisions, right? You need to decide whether the same issue needs a rule, a price change, a training check, or a conversation that might be difficult, but you can't put it off anymore. Those are not the same decisions. The problem is not that you are busy. The problem is when being busy gives you a reason to avoid the decision you already know needs to be made. You can spend a whole week doing useful work and still avoid the one thing that would stop the same problem from coming back over and over again the next week. Oh, yes, I did say that. You can spend a whole week doing useful work and still avoiding the one thing that would stop the same problem from coming back week after week, day after day. This is not always a time problem. This is a procrastinating on purpose problem, not sitting around doing nothing, staying busy with work that feels so much easier than making the decision you don't want to make. In this business, you are not just one person doing one job throughout the day. You are the groomer, the salon owner, the person responsible for deciding what this business is going to become. As the groomer, we look at the dog. We look at the coat, the timing, the client, the work that has to be done right before that pet goes home, right? The groomer in us sees what needs to be fixed now. The role is trained to notice details and step in fast. When you are grooming, I really think we tend to put our blinkers on because you have to. You are focused on what's in front of you and getting that work done. And that's what you need to do. But while you are in this role, the other parts of the business are still moving. That doesn't stop because you're grooming. And this is where the teams get used to waiting for you, the owner, to answer the questions. Even when you're standing 10 feet away or you're gone for that 1 hour, they wait for you to answer the questions. During the grooming time, you are not available as the owner. You're the groomer. That's your role. Just like them, you're in that role. That does not mean you are not responsible for the business. It means that the business needs people, standards, and decisions already put in place that do not require you to stop every 10 minutes what you are doing every time something comes up. Is it hard work? Absolutely, it is hard work. Is it worth it? Absolutely, because you are passionate and love grooming. Your team needs to know what they can handle. They need to know when they can make a call themselves. They really need to know when something truly needs to come to you or not come to you. And that depends on you as the business owner. Otherwise, every single interruption pulls you out of the work that's in front of you on your table every time. And every interruption teaches the team that nothing can move forward and progress without an answer from you. Oh my God, how? That's not fair. That's not fair to you. And it's not good for your team either. The goal is not for people to make random decisions without you. It's for them to be able to make the decisions that they're supposed to make while you're doing the work and being the groomer that only you can do. Now, my favorite part. Let's talk about the business owner hat. When you are wearing the business owner hat, the groomer has to be put aside. We have to put them aside for a little bit, right? And you might be thinking, oh my God, Dara, how is that even possible? I have dogs on my schedule. I cannot stop grooming every time I need to look at the business. And you're right. You cannot. You can't do that. This is not about taking yourself off the floor for even a half a day every week or pretending that that is realistic. It's not. It's about knowing that there are certain things you cannot decide while you are in the middle of a grooming appointment. You cannot properly look at pricing while you're trying to finish a dog before a pickup. It can't happen. You can't fix a training issue by giving another quick instruction thrown over the back of a dog that you're working on. Those are owner decisions. They need a few minutes when you are not trying to get the dog done in front of you. But put one owner task on the schedule and treat it like an appointment block. One a day. Start with one every other day or one a week, whatever you need to do to get into this routine. Choose one issue that has come up more than once. And don't use that time to answer text messages. Don't use that time to make small talk with everyone or run out and do an errand or catch up on everything else. Use that time to be the owner in your business. Use that time to make one decision to fix your time as a groomer. Decide what the new rule is, who needs to know it, who needs to be part of it, and what will change the next time that situation happens. Write it all down. You got to write this stuff down. This cannot just live inside your head. You have to have it on paper. I'm telling you, pen, paper. Look, I got notebooks everywhere, pen and paper. Yeah, and for those listening, I'm showing it all. Pay attention the next time it happens. That is your role in the owner work, right? It is not sitting around thinking about the business. It's not. It's about making a decision that changes how the business runs when you are grooming so that you can get back to what you love. And you opened a grooming salon, I am assuming, because you love grooming or just pets in general. But you probably love grooming. And then there is my favorite part, the visionary part. And as groomers, when you put your groomer hat on, I know you do. I know you can see that finished dog the minute it walks in the front door. I know you see it. You can see what that face is going to look like. You know exactly what you want to do with that coat. You know exactly what that shape is going to look like on that little cute booty on the back end and every little detail of what you want to do. And you already know where you want to take it. And you're probably right now frothing and chomping at the bit to get your hands on that sweet little face and make it even more adorable than it already is, right? I'm going to be honest. For me, I have a very hard time seeing that in grooming. It's a lot of work for me to see that. Ask me to look at a dog and picture the finished results. That is not where my talent lies at all. I got to work really hard on that. But ask me about the business journey and I can see it clear as day, crystal clear. I can see where the business could go. I can see the end result. I can usually see 50 different pathways of how we can get there. That is the visionary role. It's not about sitting around dreaming about something big, a future salon that does not even exist yet. No. It is about being able to look at where you are now and ask yourself, where are we trying to go from here? Right now and here. What do we want this salon to be known for? What do we want clients to experience every single time they walk in the front door? What do we want the team to be able to do without waiting for us as business owners? What do we want the business to look like in a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? Because when you can see the finished dog, you do not just start hacking away at that and hoping and praying it all goes well, right? You have a picture in your head. You have a picture of where you are going to take that dog and what it's going to look like at the end. And your business needs that too. You need to know what you are working toward, or every decision gets based on what's easiest today. What's easiest today? What do I not want to deal with today? That visionary role helps you decide whether the owner decisions you are making are actually taking you where you want to go. I know this was a lot. You may not need to sit in this role every single day. You do not need to visit it often, but the business is not being built by accident, and it is not being built one day after another. Maybe that is what gets missed when we keep saying, we're too busy. I'm too busy. What am I missing again? What am I missing? What am I missing? Do you ask yourself that question? What am I missing? Oh my gosh, I ask myself that question a lot. What am I missing? I'm missing something. It's not the work. The work is right in front of us. It's right there all day long. What gets missed is that we are trying to do 3 jobs at once, and we keep letting the grooming job take over because that's the job we know best. When you are grooming, you need to be able to groom. Your team cannot wait for you to come out from behind that table or out from under that hat to decide every single little thing. When you sit down and look at the business, that time needs to be used to make decisions. Not continue to talk about it over and over again. Not write it on another list and put it on the wall and it gets smeared 2 weeks later and you're still like, did we ever make that decision? And when you look at where you want the salon to go, you need to be honest about whether the way things are running now is going to get you there. That's it for this week. That's it. That was enough. And don't forget, I want you to not forget this. The next time you say or hear someone say, I'm too busy, stop for a second and ask, what are we actually avoiding? All right, that's it for today of After the Last Dog. I hope this gave you something useful to think about the next time you say, I'm too busy, or what am I missing about a problem that shows up in the salon? The goal is to not have all the answers. It never is. It's to stop solving the same problems over and over and over again. You can take this and go read the companion blog, I'm Too Busy, and is it costing you more than you really think? Then pick one thing from today's episode and try it this week. I look forward to seeing you the next time after the last dog.